We'll now call the planning meeting of August 26th to order. Roll call.
Hatna here.
Boucher.
Chinsky here.
Kavich here.
Oldani here.
Seifert here.
Okay, we'll get us to the minutes of August 12th, 2025. Take a moment or two. When you're satisfied, there's no questions, omissions, errors, corrections, or discussion, motion.
Seifert moves to approve the minutes of August 12th, 2025.
Lork seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Christine.
Hatna, aye.
Boucher.
Chinsky, aye.
Lork, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Oldani abstains.
Seifert, aye.
Okay, first item of the night is item 4, and it's consideration of a conditional use permit with conditions and restrictions. It's a request for a conditional use permit amendment for a building addition and various site modifications to the Elizabeth Residence Assisted Living Community and existing facility located at 10441 South Nicholson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And actually, because items 4 and 5 are in relation to the same project or development, I'll be presenting them together. So I don't know if you need to read number 5 as well into the
Okay, as long as we're discussing it, we will be venturing into also the site and architectural review, the site plan and architectural review for the construction of that building addition to the Elizabeth Residence Assisted Living Community, an existing facility located at 10441 South Nicholson Road. All right, Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so the existing the property, I should say, is, like you said, on South Nicholson. It is currently zoned RM multifamily residential district, and it also has a special use permit, multiple family, that was approved back in the mid 80s. Special use is a term that we used to use, and it's since been replaced with a conditional use. For our terminology, it, although did similar thing in that it permitted a use with conditions and restrictions. So the applicant is looking to, one, amend the conditions and restrictions of that special use permit from back in the 80s, and in order to allow them to construct an addition onto that existing community-based residential facility, the CBRF, which is Elizabeth Residence. And so they're proposing 2 changes to those conditions and restrictions. One is to increase the maximum building height from 25 feet to 35 feet. And as I get in later into the presentation, you'll see their architectural plans and see how it's to accommodate a kind of architectural feature to the building that does extend beyond the 25 feet in height. They're also looking to decrease the ratio for required parking spaces on site from 1.5 spaces per unit to 1 space per unit. So the applicant had noted that they are operating these similar facilities elsewhere, and have the understanding that many parking spaces is just not required, and that 1 space per unit would be more appropriate. So they're asking to amend that requirement to not have too much parking on site. So existing, like I said, it's the Elizabeth Residence, which has 14 units in it. You can see it here shown from the aerial photo. The building as it is now is about 11,000 square feet, has 18 parking spaces. Impervious surface and the site is just over 41,000 square feet, with green space a little over 76% of the site. So that is what we have currently today. So the applicant is looking to, like I said, add this addition. It will be connected to the existing building with a corridor. that you see here, spinning out. This will add 24 more units to the facility for a total of 38 units in total. So that will add another 20,000 square feet onto the building to be a building just a little over 31,000 square feet in total. That addition that they're proposing does meet all the setback requirements for both the RM1 and for the special use permit that's in place. They're proposing to add 22 parking spaces for a total of 40 on site. Again, so if they were with the 38 units, that would be a little bit more than one per unit if that amendment's made, because otherwise they'd be required to have 57 parking spaces on site. They're increasing the impervious surface on site just under 17,000 square feet, which will reduce the green space a little bit to just below 70%, but they're required 30%, so they're well over the required green space on site. They're also proposing a storm water rain garden up in the northeast part of the site, which engineering has taken a look at and knows that will accommodate the stormwater needs for the addition. They also currently have trash receptacles at the south end of the existing parking lot, which is just out in the open. Through this process, they're going to be enclosing those trash receptacles with masonry walls per city code. So architecturally, what they're proposing is going to be very consistent with what is there, a very traditional architecture with brick veneer along the base of it, transitioning to composite siding, both horizontal siding and some shingle shake style as well. Has a gabled roof with multiple dormers along its length. And also you can see in the middle of the addition here is that kind of large peaked gable roof. That's proposed to be a little over 33 feet in height. The rest of the building fitting the 25 feet max, but to accommodate what they would like to have is that architectural kind of feature there. They're looking, like as I mentioned before, to amend the restriction on height. For landscaping, quite robust. They have more than 80% of the facade for the new building it has the foundation landscaping that's required. They've the whole perimeter of pretty much the entire perimeter of the site they'll be adding in transitional landscaping, which they're required to have the type A transitional area landscaping, which would be 3 trees per 100 feet linear feet, 15 shrubs per 100 linear feet. So that is around all sides of the building. You notice along the edge of the south, they aren't proposing any there, but there is a pretty developed, established line of vegetation there that currently screens the site. To build the addition, they will be removing 4 trees that are on site, and they have noted replacement trees, 12 in total. So meeting those requirements there as well. For lighting, they'll be adding 3 new light fixtures on 30-foot tall poles, all single-headed, 3,000 Kelvin or less. You can see them, what the style of the fixtures will be, and again, the 3 poles associated with the extension of the parking lot and access drive to the facility. So the lighting they're proposing as well meets municipal code. So I believe applicants are here if you have any questions. Otherwise, I have 2 suggested motions. One first is for the amendment to the conditional use amendment or special use assessment, and then also suggested motion for the site plan and architectural review. So.
Okay, thank you, Todd. Applicant, you want to come up, say a few things, say a few words? Guys, we'll need your name and address for the record.
John Corey, 9280 South 51st Street in Franklin.
Randy Hetwer, 25217 South Wind Lake Road, Wind Lake. Richard Corey, 8426 South Fountain Court, Franklin.
Perfect. Thank you.
I guess what would you like to know? He explained everything very well, so.
Okay. Okay. Let's kind of start with the little background. Obviously, you're expanding because business is booming.
Well, John and I, my family, my sisters John and my two sisters are RNs. I'm the administrator. We've been operating, we started in Cudahy in 1988 with Shoreline residents. So we've been at this for quite a while. We're in the city of Franklin, city of Oak Creek, the city of Racine, the village of Bayside, and the city of New Berlin. We're basically mostly in the care home business like this, where it's a single room occupancy with a private bath, and we provide meals, nursing. We're a lot of heavy custodial care. So we've been at the game for a while. Generally, I think we have a pretty good reputation, and we've been in the city since 2011. We took over the old Schmidt Memorial Home, and then we remodeled that, and we had a pretty good run there. But we really need to bring a new product to the market, and this product is something that we built in the city of New Berlin, just a little upgraded, but we built this product. It was very well received. John's our nurse and does most of our admissions. John, do you want to say a few words?
No, we just want to thank the city and the staff. I know Randy was working with the staff, and it was very fluid. The engineer's not here tonight, but he was also very pleased with working with your staff. So, yeah, so I'll let Randy, the one thing that we asked for is that extra height, and the reason is it just gives it a little more grandeur when you come in. That's it. There's not going to be any rooms up there. It's just a little bigger fireplace, and it gives it a better look.
Okay.
So thank you.
Push it over to Council Christine. You want to start us off? Anything?
Yes, I have a question about the old or existing building. Is there anything going to happen to match the architect of the proposed one? So it just matches.
Yeah, we're trying to match it. It's the building itself is a pleasant looking building, and this complements it. It just kind of adds on to it. It doesn't, make the site look, too busy. It kind of fits in with the surrounding neighborhood, and we think it complements the old one nicely.
So you're not going to do any improvement or
No,
any
it's
upgrades?
similar materials already. We're matching the brick on the building.
Okay.
It's siding, similar things like that.
Okay. All right. That's it. Thank you.
Sure.
Steve?
The parking going down the one, obviously you guys are doing these other places. You haven't seen any issues that you really think the one stall per will be enough?
And I guess he had a picture of an aerial view, and I think that says it right there. If you look at the aerial view, the parking lot is empty. There is 6 cars for the 14 units. It's a CBRF. It's elderly people typically who need care that aren't mobile. Most of the residents don't drive.
So most of them are guests is what you're saying?
Yes.
People that are
Yep.
parking
Yes.
are guests?
Yep.
Okay. All right, yeah, no other questions, no issues with the extra height for that one location?
Thank you, Steve. Ashley?
As mentioned, a green infrastructure permit will be required to be submitted, and then that green infrastructure plan will be fully reviewed. So location looks appropriate, but now engineering will need to do a more detailed review on that green infrastructure plan. So we'll work with your engineer on that.
Greg? No questions or concerns with regard to the conditional use. Parking was addressed as far as the residents and things of that nature. The current site plan with the existing building, is there access around the entire building? And if not, is this new addition going to affect how EMS would access in any way?
Well, would say the existing building, currently there's sidewalks that go around the back. It's very flat. I mean, if there's a real, got to get it done situation, I don't see a problem with even a fire truck getting back there at all. Of course, that would only be, something that's a massive peril, but, as far as access to everything, the site's it's very flat, and there's no real major impediments, except for maybe trees. But
So
right now, there's not.
Currently, if transport or ambulance or anything would need, they just use the front door?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they go through the front door typically. Or, most of the time we try to, direct them, don't come in hot, because we have nurses on staff, and we know that, and we might direct them to a door, where we can take our residents out an easier way. But generally we direct them, unless it's something that is, an unforeseen thing that they come in hot, but.
Pretty well. There's 4 accesses. So generally it's the front door, but I think what he's referred to, if there's somebody that's at one end of the building, we'll just have them come around that end and you just go right out.
Okay,
Works pretty well.
okay, thanks.
Thanks, Greg. Don?
The only thing that caught my eye is the corridor that's connecting the two buildings. Is there going to be any exits right where
Yeah, so
Todd's
to the
pointing
left
there?
of your cursor, it goes straight out that sidewalk. Right there.
Okay, all right. That was it. That was my only question.
Is that sidewalk connected and, enclosed, I should say?
Well,
Or
the
is it
connector
open?
between the two buildings is enclosed.
It is enclosed. Is it heated?
It's a condition space.
So there's no problem then. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay. Most of my questions were addressed. Any stormwater issues here? It tends to be wetter on that side of town.
In that location specifically, we have not received any concerns. Again, we'll review their stormwater management plan to make sure that it meets our requirements. It'll be passed along to MMSD to review it and approve it once the city approves it. So currently right now, not seeing any issues with that.
As this isn't a public hearing, there will be a public hearing on this if it advances and goes farther. But I'm not sure if the residents are here for informational, if that's why you're here, or if there's any questions that we might have missed that weren't addressed. Come on up, sir, if you want, and you can relay it to us. As it ain't a true public hearing, I'm not going to go super deep into this, but if you did come for information, because you were notified, there are 3 homes, I believe, pretty close.
And the public hearing will be on the 7th of October.
Okay.
So I live
name
on,
and address, sir.
I live on 10461 South Nicholson, so it would be on the south end of your property.
Please state your name.
First name is James, last name is Ann Tisdale. Like just a couple things were said. Number one, coming in hot. BS, they come in hot all the time. Sirens going off a lot, okay? So let's dispel that.
Okay, but it's procedure, and fire determines that, or police, as you well
Right,
know.
but so there's more people, there's gonna be more calls for service and more alarms.
I understand, but I think when they said come in hot, I took it as coming in a rush and the whole deal. But anyways,
Red
go
lights and
ahead.
siren.
Go
Hot.
ahead.
Red lights and siren.
Go ahead.
A lot. The garbage, I got 2 photos from yesterday. They throw the garbage, and I know it's gonna be enclosed. The garbage cans aren't closed, and there's garbage bags just thrown over. We got a raccoon problem, we got everything problem. That's one of my concerns. The other concern is, I went before the zoning board in 2013 for my garage. It got denied. I was limited to 17 feet. My neighbor pointed out that it was because of single family. Why has it got to be 35 feet high? 25 is aesthetic with the rest of the building and things like that. I have a problem with that.
No, you can't talk from back row, sir. You got to come up, state your name and address.
That's all I got for now. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. You know, some of that can be addressed through zoning and the whole thing. The question is the 35-foot appropriate? I haven't heard any mixed reaction. It was explained for a grander entrance there, and I would think the residents gather at that fireplace. Probably a great room of some sort. So I personally don't have a problem with the 35 feet. Looks like the building itself sits pretty far off the road.
I have a question now. So you said for the fireplace, is that required for the fireplace, or is it just for aesthetic?
Aesthetics. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a more inviting space. You know, if you have an 8-foot ceiling, you know, it's kind of like this space here. It's nice that you have a larger space for people to gather, and just creates a nicer space to live in.
Okay, so if the neighbors have any problem with that, are you able to work with them just to make it a little bit?
Yeah, it's not just the indoor space, it's also the exterior as well. You know, it just invites people. It gives them, you know, kind of a hierarchy of the building where they pull up, they can see, you know, where we have the gable, you know, that's the front entrance. You know, it's no guessing where you need to go in. You know, if we have everything flat and low, you know, you really lose that identity of the building, and it's just, you know, one plane going across, and, you know, you have multiple doors, which one do you pick? So that really helps, you know, wayfind people. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the residential districts are already at 35 feet for their height. So we're pretty much matching that.
Okay. So I understand where you're coming from. You just wanted to identify where's the entrance from and
so
and
I just
invite
wanted to
people
point it out that we're not like trying to exceed, you know, like their height, you know, limits. So, you know, a 2-story house, you know, with a roof, you're going to be looking at 35 feet easily. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Again, and keep in mind, you know, these CBRFs, this is actually for people in their later years. This is actually their home as well. You have to keep that in mind.
It also should be noted that it's RM1, which would normally have a 50-foot height allowed.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it. So, okay.
I have just one more question.
Yes, go ahead, Greg.
Just looking at the satellite image, maybe it's not picked up on here, or maybe this is an old photo, but are the dumpsters just in the parking lot, or are they enclosed somewhere?
Well, right now on the south side, I don't know if I can point somewhere. They won't see it. Yeah, right where he's pointing. That's where the dumpsters are right now. They are open. So we are proposing to put a surround. And there's not even a door. If you look at the plan, they have a walkaway. When people bring in the trash from the facility, they have like a corridor with that enter and snake around to get to the dumpster to prevent, you know, trash from blowing out, or someone leaving a door open when they're walking to throw away. It's a lot easier and more convenient.
Come on up, sir. I'll give you each the last word, then I'm going to go to a vote. Name and address.
Gary Geiger, 10481 South Nicholson Road. So a couple questions with the parking. I know we talked about 1 space per unit, putting it at 40 as to 38 units. What about employee parking? With the new addition, obviously you're going to have a significant amount of employees, you know, increasing, so you're going to have more parking space occupied by employees. How does that factor into that?
This is just my guess, but I can let them explain. I would think the parking's adequate because I don't think the residents at this point probably own vehicles. I'll let them. You'll have to be on microphone, John.
The parking is adequate. We have, there's another facility in the location that has less parking than we do, and I think it's very nice. So we feel very comfortable with this parking. So as far as the employees, that's the only people that drive, and then the visitors when they come. So we're comfortable with this. So, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And then with regards to the 33 feet 3 inch height, are other facilities that you have at that height?
You have to be on the mic, sir.
Yeah, this is, our New Berlin facility is very similar. This is a little upgrade, but very similar. And it's right in a residential neighborhood. Well, it abuts a school, ironically, just like this one. But we have a neighborhood to our south, directly to our south. And it's worked wonderfully. We have a great relationship with the high school. As a matter of fact, we're putting in a new sidewalk to connect our buildings because we have so many volunteers coming in now from the high school. We don't really have that right now with the grade school. We do get some visitation, but we're willing to work with the school and try to build that relationship. The older folks just, enjoy that. But, yeah, I mean, to answer your question, New Berlin has it, yes. In very similar circumstances.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering is if it's in the middle of as many lots kind of surrounded by all the different residential houses as this one is. Now I know, we said with the houses in the area, typical residential, we're at 35 is kind of the limit, but that's for a two-story. This is a single family, right?
Residential is actually considered differently.
Their parcel is zoned RM1, which would allow up to 50 if it weren't for the special use restriction. But the neighbors, I think the height's 30 feet potentially is their max. I don't know if they're RS.
Say that in a two-story.
I'm just
Likely.
questioning. I understand that it will be, it will look very nice on the inside. No doubt. I would love that in my house, right? But I'm sure if I came to the city and said, hey, I'm building a ranch house and I want a 33-foot ceiling, it wouldn't happen. Okay. All right. And then the last thing I will say is in relation to the dumpsters. I know when we had this meeting, year or 2 years back, when they had proposed putting it closer to the lot lines, we had spoke about the dumpsters and how there's always trash everywhere into that tree line on the south side. The dumpsters are never closed. And, when we had talked in that meeting, they had said, yeah, we know about it. We've been talking about closing those in. None of that has been done. None of the workers have been talked to. And this is just going to bring more trash, right? More medical
But
waste,
again,
more garbage.
now they will be enclosed.
But why haven't they done it yet, right?
Well,
It's my concern is, okay, are they adding more dumpsters because the dumpsters they have appear not to be adequate?
Showing the two on the print.
Correct, which are overflowing and always open. So I'm concerned with that and the amount of trash that's going to increase.
They'll have to answer.
So, that's what I got.
That's a good question. It does, right now they're 2 6-yarders. We will increase them to 8. And then we'll typically, because we have a similar size facility in Franklin, but it's 60 units. I have 2 8s. I got a big 8 for the recycling. We get that once a week, and then I get the garbage twice a week. That'll be more than sufficient with only the 40 units that we have here, 38 units that we have here. So I'm pretty sure we'll address that. And I apologize that it is a bummer. The wind blows. It does happen. What can I tell you? But I try to direct people, pick it up, get it back in. But your point's well taken. I think the enclosure will help this, and then we'll increase our capacity substantially. Plus twice a week. It should be very good. If not, let me know. Just come over and say hello to us. We'll be happy to.
And I have done that on numerous occasions.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Well,
and they
you got to get to the boss.
like I said, and we spoke about it when we had this meeting 2 years ago, and nothing has changed. They're always open, and closing it in concrete's not gonna help anything if the dumpsters are left open, right?
Actually, the way it works, it should work, and whether they're up or not, the fencing should, and actually it's got to be masonry.
I have a question now. So with those new building, which is larger than the existing one, why are those dumpsters are not moved towards closer to the new? The architect maybe will help me answer that. Why are not proposed to be located near the new larger building because they're going to be having larger quantity or volume of trash, and especially it's going to be even closer to the roadway, so it's going to be even accessible more with those vehicles to pick them up and easier and move out of the lot.
Yeah, the building is going to operate as one entity, so it's going to be combined, and all the services, are shared throughout the building.
Yes.
So if it's on, on one side of the building compared to the other, they're still collecting all the garbage, you're going around and then wheeling it out. And then also where it's situated on the lot, when someone comes into the site, you just don't see a dumpster right away. And we actually, I believe, had it in that kind of the corner over there, and we were directed to move it where it is right now.
Directed by who?
Development staff? Yeah, it was a while ago.
It was probably in the original version of the building.
Yes, yep.
So,
Mhm.
I understand.
Yeah, but we do require the screening, which that's what
but there's
they're doing.
so many places away from those, like the other parcels with the other residents. No, this is the only place where the other residents side where you can put trash.
Well, the residents don't put their trash there. It's
No, I'm talking about your trash enclosures. So this is the only place you can find, which is neighboring or abutting those neighbors.
Well, it's
the only place you can think of.
It's limited on where we can position on the site because we only have so much room for access into the site. So we're right on the boundary lines. We don't have many more options except right when you pull off the streets.
we would not want that on Nicholson Road.
I understand, but
initially we did have it there in that corner, if you will, just north of the garage, because we felt it was just convenient for staff to bring it there, but we were directed to put it there, and we're okay with that. I mean, it's good access for the trucks, and if they have to, there's a big slab alongside that garage that they could back into if they had to. It's probably a better location for the truck because they're all straight shots now.
yeah, I agree with you. It seemed like it's the good location, but it seemed it has been a problem, and it's not being fixed.
It will be now, because it will be enclosed.
Yes, but
And
it
the
seemed that
dumpsters will be enlarged.
yes, but it seemed that the staff are not closing it behind them.
They're gonna have to instruct their staff. That's all there is to it, but it will be enclosed, it will be guarded, and it should, with 8-yarders, not overflow at this point in time.
I'm
Lastly,
confident
sir,
the capacity will be much more. Yes. I'm sorry.
one more resident, and then we'll take it to,
10455 South Nicholson Road. It is directly to the, right there. So the facility now is far enough back away from our properties that are on Nicholson, the ones on the north end. Where they're proposing it is like directly next to my bedroom window. So I'm going to have to deal with parking, people talking. Like, I work second shift, so I'm gonna have to deal with all that construction for however long that goes on. Then I'm gonna have to deal with, next to my bedroom window, people parking, people talking, and it happens all the time because I can hear it where the facility is now, but now it's gonna be next to my bedroom window. He made the point, bring a new product to the market, but at the expense of the current residents that live there. I mean, I would not have bought my property if that facility was there at that time. I would want to live next to a huge facility that's right next door to my house. And he said about how it fits in with the surrounding area, but that surrounding area is all residencies. It's not some huge facility, so that doesn't fit in. And it's gonna be, an issue. I wouldn't have bought my property initially if that was there. That's plain and simple. I wouldn't have bought it. I would have looked for somewhere else where it's residents. I wouldn't want to live next door to a huge facility. And about the fire trucks and the ambulances coming in, now they're going to be next door to my bedroom window with their sirens and their lights blaring. I'm like, to me, that's ridiculous. If they were knocking down their current facility and putting that in its place, it wouldn't be as bad because it's laid back. But that is right next door to my bedroom window. And that's absolutely ridiculous to me.
Oh, they are zoned for it. So, I mean, they do have a right to have that type of facility in that zone. So, what we're looking at is the conditions and restrictions right now.
Well, if they're courteous to their neighbors like they claim to be, then they'd offer to put up a privacy fence for me instead of trees that are going to take 20 years to grow in. Because that is going to be an issue.
Well, they are heavily landscaped, but
my whole yard is heavily landscaped, and that doesn't help hearing them in the back there.
I get it, but they have a right to develop their property as well, and they have to build it at some point, whether it's first shift or second shift, sir. So. Okay. Commission? Anything further? We'll take the vote on 4 first, and depending on how it goes, 5th to follow. Motion on 4.
Seifert moves that the planning commission, that the common council approve the conditional use permit amendment for a building addition and various site modifications to Elizabeth Residency Assisted Living Community, an existing facility located at 10441 South Nicholson Road, after a public hearing and subject to conditions and restrictions.
Lorick seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Steve.
Pauch, aye.
Kipchinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
David, aye.
Ladani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Hannah, aye.
Thank you. We'll take 5 next. That is the site and architectural review for the construction of the Elizabeth Residence addition. Motion?
Lorick moves to approve the site and architectural plans for the construction of an addition to the Elizabeth Residence of Oak Creek, an existing business located at 10441 South Nicholson Road, with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. 2, that the plans are revised to include locations for all mechanicals, transformers, and utilities. All mechanical equipment, transformers, and utility boxes, ground building, and rooftop shall be screened from view. 3, that all revised plans are submitted electronically to the Community Development Department prior to submitting any permit applications. 4, that the Common Council approves an amendment to the special use multifamily permit, ordinance 1097, increasing the maximum building height allowed to 35 feet and decreasing the parking ratio to 1 space per unit. And 5, that this approval by Plan Commission shall expire within 12 months after the date of approval if a building permit has not been issued.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Ashley.
Kipchinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
David, aye.
Ladani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Hannah, aye.
Pauch, aye.
Okay, this will be a public hearing in front of council on October the 9th. October 7th. Okay. Thank you. Yep. Item 6, review conditions and restrictions related to the request to establish, rezone all or portions of the properties located at 7412, 7430, 7478, 7546 South 27th Street, the Planned Unit Development Overlay District PUD for proposed multifamily residential development submitted by Mark Lake. Christie?
Can you read number 7 as well, please?
And we will also be talking about number 7, so we will get on it right away. And number 7 is review conditions and restrictions related to the request to establish and rezone all or portions of the properties located at 7430, 7478, 7546 South 27th Street, Planned Unit Development Overlay PUD for proposed multifamily residential development submitted by Mark Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For simplicity purposes, we will discuss items 6 and 7 together. So to recap, the Prairie project, pretty complex project, was before the Plan Commission in the end of July. And then a public hearing is scheduled for all 10 of those agenda items, if you may recall, on September 2nd. With 2 of those agenda items from the end of July, they included an overlay district, a planned unit development overlay district over 2 of the future areas, if you will. And then what's before you are the actual conditions and restrictions. They were described at that meeting, but this is just the technicality that that document listing the conditions and restrictions be recommended for approval, subject to the public hearing to be held September 2nd. So the areas we're talking about this evening are only areas C North and area D, which are kind of in the middle of the screen here. And just to recap, the purpose of a planned unit development, this is a lot of text, I'm not going to read it to you verbatim, but 2 of the reasons and intent to allow for a planned unit development is to stimulate creative approaches to development and mixed use of land, and also to provide more efficient use of the land. So those are the 2 main items and the reasons for the need for the PUD that's being requested. So the proposed zoning in the cream color area is going to be single family. The blue area was going to be the 2-family, like the fourplex condos and the 2-plex side-by-side condos. And then the purple areas are the multifamily. The 2 hatched areas are specifically the planned unit development overlays that we're discussing this evening. So area, area C North, which is the top left striped area, and then area D is kind of the middle multifamily PUD overlay. We'll discuss first the very top left, which is the multifamily 3-story apartment buildings. So we have definitions in our zoning code for dwelling multifamily building and dwelling complex. You may recall that the multifamily building allows a density only up to 12 units per acre, whereas the multifamily complex allows a density of up to 16 units per acre. Given the land shape, what the applicant is requesting is to have a higher density allowed at this particular one parcel, just because of the restrictions of the land size. So they are requesting the 16 units per net acre. And then, if this were to move, oops. They're also requesting a variation on the site configuration. The code requires that the main entrance to a multifamily dwelling building shall face the primary street. Again, just given the layout of this building, you're going to have 2 multifamily buildings facing each other, so they're requesting flexibility from that requirement. And then they're also requesting additional area for accessory buildings because they'll have a clubhouse and a maintenance building. So they're asking that the limitation be increased from 1,200 square feet to 5,600 square feet. And then just for technicality purposes, this is how those flexibility requests are laid out in the conditions and restrictions document. It specifically states the section of the code and then basically states that for this particular project, these are the new rules, which is exactly as they requested it. Okay, so now we're going to the middle multifamily PUD overlay. This is the 2-story stack flat apartments. So this is the enclosed parking space they're requiring flexibility on. We had lengthy discussions about this last time because I did not do a good job of explaining it. But what they're asking for flexibility on is that only 58% of the units, a ratio of 58%, are enclosed. They will meet the requirements for parking. It's just focusing on the enclosed requirements specifically. And then they're asking for flexibility. Our code states that a maximum of 1 curb cut shall be permitted per street frontage. They are requesting 2. Again, because of the limitations of the layout of the land, they will have those 2 curb cuts at a minimum separation of 300 feet per code. And then they're also asking for more additional area for accessory structures because they have the detached garages, and they will also have a maintenance building. So asking that the limitation on accessory structure area be increased from 1,200 square feet to 8,000 square feet. So again, technicality, this is how the conditions and restrictions document looks. It lists specifically for this particular project how those flexibilities will be laid out. And so with that being said, the applicant is seeking a positive recommendation from the Plan Commission to the Common Council. The suggested motions are in front of you, and this will be held for public hearing on September 2nd.
Wonderful, thank you, Christy. Applicant, you want to say a few words, or you want to just wait on questions? Okay, he's indicated he will wait. Let's start it. Fred, you want to start us off?
I have no, excuse me, I have no questions at this time.
Okay. Don?
I might not have been keeping up. So what's the difference between these two motions exactly?
I'm sure one, it's two different areas of land that we're discussing, which was, oops, sorry.
The 7412 is the
And
different one.
yeah, so those addresses listed are current addresses. You may recall that they are really long, skinny parcels running from east to west. So the addresses are current addresses that touch the new land carve out.
All right.
So that's one difference is you're right. The first motion has one additional address. The second difference is they're asking different requests for accessory buildings as far as area, because it's very specific to that future development of area C North and area D. Area C North is going to have 2 3-story multifamily apartments. Area D is going to have the 2-story stack flat apartments.
Okay.
Area D is going to have covered garages. So they need the.
Without that on the screen.
You're not on the screen.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm running this one. My bad. I apologize. Okay. I'm sorry.
There we go.
That picture in front of you is helpful. So the RM1 multifamily PUD, which is the hatched purple on the left side along 27th Street, those are your 2 48-unit buildings. And then the middle purple area are your 2-story stack flat apartments with the detached garages. So a little bit variation of requests between the two projects. The one on the along 27th Street.
That's good. Thanks.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Got it. Nope.
Greg?
I'm just trying to review this part of the packet. Can you go back to the slide that had the chart for the accessory building one?
One or the other. They both are asking for requests on the accessory buildings.
One of them mentioned that it wouldn't meet, the current standard wouldn't allow or wouldn't meet for the clubhouse.
Okay, let me go to that one.
They both don't meet the requirements because they were limited to 1,200 square feet. So the one that C North is the one with the 48-unit buildings. That's where we want to put the clubhouse on the corner. And code doesn't allow for a clubhouse. It only limits everything to 1,200 square feet. And so we're asking for a clubhouse and a maintenance building. Our current configuration has our clubhouse and then we have a pool, and we try to have our maintenance building and the pool chemical building kind of touched. And so that's why, and they're separate buildings, so that's why they'd be there. And then we have and then potentially on the other one, which is the deep site in the middle, we have a potentially maintenance building there if our property management department didn't like the maintenance building out front, we would have the ability to put it in the back. So it's going to be one or the other is essentially what it's going to be.
Okay. And then as far as the curb cuts, I don't have an issue. And then there was one about the principal front of the building right facing the main road. I think we discussed
That's
that
along
already when we
27th
saw
Street.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I think we discussed that, and I was fine with it back when we saw the conceptual plan. So other than that, I don't have any questions.
Ashley?
I have no questions, thank you.
Steve?
No issues with any of this.
Okay, Christine?
Just one question. Can you bring the table where it has the 16 dwelling? The previous one. Keep going. Yeah, this one. So just for me to understand, so are you asking for more than 16 dwelling units? Okay.
Essentially what the difference is, and Christy was being nice and helped us through this to get us to this point. And essentially what we have is we have, if you had a picture of what our site plan looked like, we have 2 buildings, 48 units north and 4 buildings to the south. Work in your code says that you have to have more than 2, not 2, more than 2 in order to be a multifamily complex. And if it's a multifamily complex, everything else is okay.
Okay.
So this PUD says that 2 buildings is a complex.
Oh,
It's essentially the bottom line of what's happening.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Well, my questions kind of got answered along the way. Any further discussion, anything pop up along the way? Okay, if not, we will take 6 first and then 7. So, motion on 6. You guys want to bring up the motion
you go.
because we don't have
I
time.
got it.
Lork moves to recommend to the Common Council approval of conditions and restrictions related to a request to establish, rezone all or portions of the properties located at 7412, 7430, 7478, and 7546 South 27th Street to Planned Unit Development Overlay District, PUD, for a proposed multifamily residential development.
Hold on any seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Greg.
Lork, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Hold on, aye.
Seifert, aye.
And I.
Vouch aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Okay, now 7.
Oldani moves that the Plan Commission recommends Common Council approval for conditions and restrictions related to a request to establish, rezone all or portions of the properties located at 7430, 7478, and 7546 South 27th Street to Planned Unit Development Overlay District for a proposed multifamily residential development.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Don.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
And I.
Vouch aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lork, aye.
Gavich, aye. That'll bring us to adjournment. So it is Labor Day weekend, so take some time off, enjoy the last bouts of summer. That's usually it, and be careful if you're traveling on the roads. This is a very heavily traveled weekend, and we want everybody safe out there. So, Fair in the Square is going on. I think you got another hour and a half. You can catch a Disney movie out there and maybe something to eat. So, there's no further business. I'll ask for adjournment.
Seifert moves to adjourn the planning commission at 7:55.
Oldani, seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Fred.
Seifert, aye.
And I.
Vouch aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lork, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Okay.